Hello and welcome to the module Introduction to Entrepreneurship of AI Sana. Today's topic is using AI tools to find entrepreneurial opportunities and build real businesses. My name is Elena Sidych and I will be moderating today's session. Today, we are joined by Mike Zhang, a serial entrepreneur and experienced business leader. Mike has held senior executive roles at global companies such as Procter & Gamble and Land's End, and has founded multiple startups with successful exits across travel, health, dating, and fitness. He brings decades of hands-on experience building and scaling real businesses across multiple industries. Today, Mike is a founder at BISC, where he helps organizations use AI not as a tech initiative, but as a strategic business imperative. BISC AI work with startup founders and executive teams to design and build AI solutions that solve real business problems, from enterprise systems that automate complex financial operations with over 95% accuracy, to AI-powered athlete recovery platforms used by NCAA, the organization that governs university sports in the United States. For today's session, Mike has prepared a presentation to walk you through how AI can be used to identify opportunities, build product faster, and scale businesses in an AI-first world. After the presentation, we will continue with the discussion and questions with Mike. Mike, welcome, and the floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much, Elena. What a pleasure to be able to talk to you and your students and your organization about how AI can change the world, and specifically what kind of tools we can use and to improve our productivity and start startups and then make the corporations more productive in what they do. So it's really my honor. And Salim. Okay, so I'm going to start my presentation right now. Wonderful. Okay, so today I'm going to focus on this talk about building real products with AI and how we can use tools to drive our idea to impact in much shorter time period and has much a higher impact, and use AI tools to transform entrepreneurship. And today I will give you tools really to see how this is possible. And just very quickly, as Elena already mentioned, I have experience in working with large corporations as well as in startups. And this time is completely different. I'm looking at what we have right now. And when I look at back for the last 25 and 30 years, I think I've never seen a time that is so transformational and so with so many breakthroughs in such a short amount of time. And it's all because of AI. And I think you are in amazing time period that can really make the impact and really can take advantage of this new era. Imagine that's 1908, okay? That's probably, it's difficult to think about it. It's more than 100 years ago. And that time, cars start to replace horses. And before that, most of the time, people are still use horses as transportation. That's the only thing they can think of when they think about transportation. And then cars show up. And most people don't know what to do with cars. And often they still think about cars in terms of horses, right? And how to make horses run faster and what kind of things you can do when they think about cars. But the people who truly understand cars and know at that time that you should not wait for the horse industry to teach you how to drive cars. And it's a completely different new world. And I think that we are at this stage, at a stage that many people, as a newcomer, you are just students. A lot of times we may think, oh, I'm just students. I don't have the experience and I don't know what to do. And there are so many people who have so many experiences and they are doing so many things that I do not understand. But remember, right now is really the game just started. And to be fair, nobody actually knows the rules yet. And I don't know the rules yet. And I would say nobody actually are sure about the rules yet. And this is the time for you really to jump in and to use this great opportunity and to shine and to learn and to grow. So use an example in terms of venture world. And in the old world, you have to raise millions of dollars. You have to have very high investment. Why? because you need to hire very expensive developers and you have to hire many, many people to do months of research. And in fact, it's very difficult to raise money because there are many gatekeepers there. And so to really start a startup that with your great idea and to be successful actually has many, many areas. Now the world is changing. And you can have a minimum viable products just in weeks. And truly, you don't need 30 people anymore. All you need is 3 people because AI just brings so much productivity and brings so much just generations of knowledge to you that you can leverage. And in the past, you have to do research and spending probably 3 months and 6 months in trying to really understand the problem. And now you can use AI to do research and to really give you a good starting point just in hours. And also, you don't need to go to Silicon Valley. You don't need to go a specific place to build AI tools, to build AI solutions. You can build from anywhere. So as I said, given that a student in Almaty, you can compete globally. You can be very successful. Why? Because the world is changing. Horses industries are going away. And if you can learn how to drive a car now, and you will be the leader. So this is pretty straightforward probably for you, for many of you, is AI can amplify you at every stage, at the discovery stage, at the build stage, at the scale stage. And every time when you do something and when you encounter a problem, I would encourage you always ask yourself this question: have I AI'd? Because you will be impressed and you will be surprised. You will be pleasantly impressed and surprised how AI can help you in almost all stages of your business or even life. And more specifically, in terms of develop a business, there are 6 stages and there are real tools and you can use start from today. And when I say it's 10 to 100 times faster than traditional, it's really not being exaggerating. You will be really surprised in how AI can help you in every stage with specific tools. And these are 6 stages: discover, research, design, build, launch, and scale. And most of the tools actually right now is free. And that's just an amazing part of it. And all the large companies and AI companies, and they all rush to take market share. And one way they do it, they offer free tier on many products. And you can use all these amazing AI products for free and use that to help you build a business. That's just unheard of, at least for decades, right? And so this is, as I said, today is the time for you to start. And I want to give you 2 case studies, what we have done, and just give you an idea in terms of how you can think about using AI to develop business, to start business, to improve productivity, to solve problems. So one example is called smart accounting. And every accounting company has this problem. They need to have invoice, right? They need to send invoice to their clients and so that they can get paid. But usually invoice process is very lengthy. And there's one company essentially comes to us and said, we have this lady who worked for 30 years and she is one who does our invoices. And she is one of the 4 people who does their invoices. But invoices process actually is very tedious for this company. And she has to go through 8 different files and takes data and put into another file and then essentially finalize it and send it out. And she can do about 5 a day. And imagine the office, you have 4 people do this every day. And it's very tedious. And the chief finance officer came to us and said, we heard you guys using AI to build automation. And we think this can be automated, but we don't know how to do this. And so what we did is we used the Vision AI to help them solve this problem. So the Vision AI can look at the files she needs to look at and can extract all the data and understand that data and then develop a final invoice in their format. And it can be all the data, automatically matched with 95% accuracy. Actually, this is modest when we say 95%. Usually what we see is 98 to 99%, except when there is an edge case, right? When there is exception. So because accounting and finance is very important, you cannot make mistakes. So we also have something called human in the loop, right? We cannot have AI do 100% but we still have somebody, a human, to make the final review and approve it. So I think that collaboration between AI and human also is very important. So anyways, we were able to do, usually it takes about 1.5 hours to do one invoice. Now they can do this in 15 minutes. And the experience also is dramatically different for people who work there. And she used to spend a lot of time trying to read through files and to put everything together and not sure whether it's correct or not. And now you have AI does everything. Then in the end, actually, she is the one who approves what AI has finally developed. And the experience itself is also is a great experience for a company employee. So I spent some time talking about this particular example is because this may not sound very exciting, but this is type of problem really AI can solve, right? And it can save time, it can improve accuracy, and this is also not a problem that unique to people in the US or unique to the people in Kazakhstan, right? It's a problem for all companies in the world. So if you can solve this problem and you can use the solution for many, many companies and for other countries as well. So I think that's why I spent some more time on this particular example. And again, just to summarize it, accountant retires after 30 years with decades of knowledge, right? An AI solution is going to be used vision and learned GL mapping and then bring amazing results. Just think about that, right? Even for your country, Kazakhstan, you are the top mining country, right? You have minerals, you have energy, you have resources. And think about your top mining geologist, right? And AI can do much work to make them perform much better, much faster, and take away the tedious work, right? And then bring in the knowledge from, the AI knowledge usually is accumulation of human knowledge of many, many decades. And they can bring that into their workflow and help them to do a better job and also capture these expertise of people who worked for a very long time. A lot of times we feel, okay, we don't know much about a particular industry. And that's a perfect opportunity to work with industry expert and use AI to capture the expertise and to develop a strong solution. I want to go back just a little bit. I know in Kazakhstan, we have a lot of young people, right? Retirement probably is not a big issue. I think when you think about in the world, many, many countries are getting population becomes older and older. So you have this advantage to develop solutions for a world with, many, many old population, and then to capture the knowledge they have and to use AI to make the work easier. Okay, I'm going to show you the other example. And I want to show you a very diverse set of example in terms of what AI can help. Another example is the app we developed called Recovery Edge. And Recovery Edge is essentially an AI tool for elite athletes and to have personalized recovery after their practices and matches, right? So for athletes, a lot of times, trainers spend a lot of time help them to practice for the matches. And then they work very hard during the matches. But when it comes to the personal recovery, with all the exercises and all the practices, they can only maximize the results by having a good recovery. But often that is not taken care of. So that's why we work with a top team in the US and to help gather the training data from athletes. And there was tons of, we call it wearable data. There's tons of wearable data. And then we develop AI solutions and to develop these personalized protocol. And then an athlete can use with their mobile app and then really save the trainer 85% of the time. So the trainer doesn't have to talk to each athlete in terms of what their specific recovery plan has to be. And the time he saved and actually can really work with other athletes who need personalized attention, right? Somebody who actually injured or somebody has a high propensity to get injured. And so the trainer can spend more time with them. And meanwhile, all the athletes are not get ignored. So that's just one example. The first case study I showed was that we can use AI to help solve the accounting problem. And here we can use AI to help athletes, right? So again, tie it back to how this can work with your environment is every country has their national teams, and we have university sports, and then you have all the sports team that they may not feel that need AI, but when you look at it, each organization, including sports team, have their own challenges. If you can work with a subject matter expert, in fact, in this case, we work with an athlete who is on the team, and then we can truly understand what their pain points, what their problems are. So we can find the data and build AI. And this is something you can do as well. You can start with local, and then we can scale globally. Okay, so how do you think about which opportunity? I mean, as I mentioned, there are many, many opportunities for AI, right? But you also want to probably start to pick the lower-hanging fruits because there are just so many opportunities. You cannot have it all. We said you cannot avoid ocean. So there are 5 criteria I developed to think about how you can pick AI opportunity can help you maximize the opportunity of success, right? These are just 5 ideas. And one is this repetitive human work. There were a lot of repetitive human work. Now, people are afraid to lose their jobs because AI can do that, right? But in fact, that just like, before there was, when there was internet, everybody afraid they're going to lose their job. Certain things internet can do quickly. And when we have Excel sheet and many people were afraid they're going to lose their job because of Excel sheet, the reality is people moving away from repetitive work, and then actually they can work on more important things and maximize their impact. So by working with AI, you can replace people doing repetitive work and allow them to have opportunity to do even better work and working on more important things. So that's one opportunity you can look at is there any repetitive human work and that AI can do? And then another thing is there's so much data being generated. If you think about the athletes, and they wear so-called wearables, right? So they wear on their wrists and on their body doing the practices and doing matches, but these data are not necessarily being used well. And it's not rare that for many industries that data have been generated, but they are just not being used, and people don't know how to leverage the data. Hold on just a second. So think about and look around, and when you work with companies or even at school, think about where there is so much data but not being used well and to make decisions. And then another opportunity is maybe a little bit counterintuitive is, do experts make decisions? Because there's a lot of times experts, they accumulate all their knowledge and they make decisions, and people cannot make the decisions without them because they are experts. But you also cannot just rely on one expert because experts leaves, experts retires. And so one way AI can help is really to work with, we call it subject matter expert, right? To collaborate with them, to retain the knowledge and to make decisions like experts. So that will free expert to work on even more important problems or making decisions. So that's another place where you can develop AI solutions. And there are other things such as mistakes costly. Sometimes if it's a low impact mistake, there's something that if you make a mistake, it's okay, we can just, roll back. But there are other things, let's say in the mining industry, you cannot make a mistake. It's very costly to make a mistake. To find the wrong location, actually that location you cannot find mines. Or you make a wrong decision in terms of how much investment you need to put into it, right? And I'm not a mining expert, but if you talk to a mining expert, you're talking to all the experts in your area, in your the focus area you want to work on, and they will tell you what mistakes can be very costly. And that's a great opportunity to use AI to work on as well, because there is more need for that, right? Because if it's just a low cost mistake, and people may say, I don't know, I want to make a lot of investment into solving that problem. But if this problem actually can be very costly, and then I'm willing to make an investment into solutions, AI solutions, okay? And then lastly, I think also very important is think about whether this problem exists globally, right? If you want to have high impact, because in the past you would think, certain people in certain area, right? Silicon Valley, and that's where people will make a lot of impact. They will develop solutions. But now with AI, it's really not limited geographically. and you can make solutions that, think about, you can make the accounting AI solution. You can make the athletic AI solution. All these things you can make. And then, but these solutions can be used globally because the problem is global. So there are different ways of thinking about how you can leverage AI opportunities. And these are 5 ways I think will help you uh, as a guideline. So again, I use examples of accounting, I use an example of athletes. But when you think about AI, really imagine what AI can do for the problems you're familiar with or for the focus areas, right? And I just think the opportunity in Kazakhstan is just enormous. You have agriculture. Agriculture is everywhere. Farming is not unique, right, to one country. And then think about the mining industry, energy. There is manufacture, and also think about education with so many young people. There are many ways to help them learn better because these days learning has changed dramatically. I have a 13-year-old and a 17-year-old at home, and they're in high school now, and how they learn and how they use AI to learn. And it's just so different from how I learned when I was in high school. And think about what kind of solutions you can, now you're a student because you really understand the student's problem, right? So think about what problems that can be solved with AI and to develop an app or just test with it, come up with a solution. And here I mentioned there's 17 million people in Central Asia, but let's think big. Let's think about the whole world, right? Think about billions of people you can serve. And I think when you focus on area that you are familiar with and you are closer to, and I think you can understand the problems better, but also can develop solutions much better than Silicon Valley. So I'm just so excited with how much impact you can make and how many opportunities you have. Very, very quickly, how I use AI every day. I have to say I use AI. I cannot leave, I cannot do things without AI these days. And not in the sense of that I'm lazy. I think AI can really augment and help me to develop better ideas, come up with better solutions, and help me become more productive and take away repetitive work and to make whatever I do better. So, in terms of business, research, building, operations, and I've been using Claude, ChatGPT, and Perplexity, and all these tools bring their unique capabilities. I really enjoyed working with Claude, using that to code. And actually, I have a Claude on my desktop computer, and I use Claude for research, and I use Claude for building apps, and I even use Claude to have discussions about projects and life and almost all aspects of my life. So another one I use a lot is Perplexity. And Perplexity really has this amazing capability of web search. And then, when I use other large language model, let's say when I use ChatGPT to develop something, it does a very good job. And then I would bring it into Perplexity and say, hey, can you confirm all the data I'm given actually is accurate? And Perplexity does a wonderful job. Go out to do the research in the web and really to come back and to tell you whether the data you have been given actually is accurate, right? It really plays a strong role in validation. And it has all the other capabilities as well. And so, in terms of building app, and again, I enjoy Cloud Code. One thing I want to just very quickly, maybe, we can talk about this later in our discussion, is you don't have to be intimidated by not knowing how to code. Okay. And I want to give you an example. I actually didn't know how to code. I was not a developer. And the only thing I know how to code in old days was, I'll give you an example, is B/B. For some people know how to use HTML. That means bold. So when you do that and put a word in it and the word becomes bold, right? That's all I know. But with the AI, I'm able to actually learn how to code and learn not in the sense of how to code myself, but learn how to collaborate with Cloud Code and to develop apps. So my message is you can do it. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be in computing science. And truly everybody can do it. Just don't get intimidated by it. So yeah, these are the tools I'm using. If you want to know more, and I can send over lists in the future as well. So I would say speed is your competitive advantage. I think that's very important just to remember. Here I said you can use 8 weeks to a real product, and I truly mean 8 weeks, and I truly mean a real product. Okay. So so I list out these 8 weeks. That's essentially literally how my company does that. Okay. And then, we spend a week or two and to do the discovery, probably a little bit longer than that. I'll come back to that. And then design is actually much faster. And then the build is much faster. And then the key thing is also you want to validate it, make sure that the product actually solved the problem, right? So for 8 weeks, I think come back to discover. When we say 1 and 2 weeks, I really think that's very, very, very important in terms of discover the true pain point, because now you can build anything, right? The problem will be soon people will discover, now what? I just build something, right? You need to build something really solve a pain point. And I think that is a place that you worth investing a lot of time in, and especially by collaborating with subject matter expert. Everything we do, we have a subject matter expert. So discovery stage is very, very important. Okay. Lastly, I'm just so amazed how, how Kazakhstan has such a young population, and you are the future, right? And there's so much you can do and you can learn, and your advantage actually is you have time, right? You're in school and you're learning, you're thinking about how I can developing apps and developing business ideas. And think about most of people, or at least most people I know, right? They have jobs, they have other challenges, and they are very occupied in what's going on in their daily business, daily life. And for large companies or small companies, especially large companies, they need to think about how I'm doing this year versus last year, right? Using AI is something they love to do, but they usually don't have time to. So as students, you actually have tremendous amount of advantage in terms of thinking, testing, experimenting, and failing, right? You say, this doesn't work, I just move on, right? And it's not a luxury many people, many countries have. So try to leverage that. And again, for your solutions, it can impact people worldwide. We have now 8.2 billion people and counting. What an amazing time. Okay, so that's my presentation. I'm happy to answer all the questions.
Thank you very much, Mike. I think it was very motivational and insightful.
Thank you.
What you just said. And I just wanted to add at the end that for now it's big window opportunity, because for now just 5%, according to MIT review, solutions in AI just eventually get some results, but 95% failed. It's according to MIT review. I saw also another reviews by other researchers. In some research, even 1%. So this is, but this situation will not, live for a long time, for a few years. And now it's just like, I'm actually like very jealous to our students who definitely, as you said, have time, but also we have really good students who are getting a lot of credibility in robotics, in math, in chess. And I think that they can do that and can go globally. We have all chances. And
Right.
this program is very unique for now in the world, where like so much number of the students is studying that. And thank you very much. With so strong experts like Michael, I hope that we will get a lot of knowledge from like first frontier who is like doing already, and get a lot of experience from them. So, and my first question to Mike. So you have built AI products in very different areas: finance, sport, wellness, parenting, and enterprise. But what stays the same when you build a business with AI, no matter the industry?
Yes, thank you for the question. I think that's one of the most important questions. When we are able to do everything using AI, nowadays building an AI solution becomes less a problem. And it is the most important thing actually is the problem discovery. what is the unmet need for the company or for the industry you're going to work with, right? So usually when we pick startups, we pick we use two approaches for problem discovery. One is our own problem. You know, a lot of times, a lot of things we find problematic and challenging is often something that we understand deeply. And with that, then we can come up with a solution that's actually truly matter and can solve the problem. So you use an example for students. Students have a lot of challenges. I remember when I was a student, they were about how to manage your course load and how to collaborate with your peers to study together and how to do well in your exam, how to prepare exam. And these are the problems students understand. And then ask yourself, is that truly a problem? And then would I be happy that if I can solve it? And then use your deep insight and understanding and to try to think about a solution, how you can use AI to solve it. Okay, so that's one route. Another route for problem discovery is really to find we call it expert, subject matter expert. Okay, so let's say if we want to work with farming or work with energy industry, you want to talk to the people who are in the industry and maybe even your, I don't know, relatives or friends, parents, and to talk to them to understand what are the things that they think is repetitive, what are things that they hope can be solved. Okay. And when you approach them, also remember a lot of times people will be intimidated when you ask them questions like what are problems you have. They will think, okay, I have heard about AI, but my problem is so unique. Usually I don't have much time to wait for your solution. And I don't think it's a good fit. So a lot of times they actually have trouble to tell you what the problems are. You have to follow up and really to understand and, maybe even follow them to work for a day and then ask for a chance to spend half a day with their team. And when you observe, and then you will start to see the things they get frustrated and they hope they have a solution. And then you can bring that back and to develop prototype and to develop a product. But that stage, Elena, the question you asked is actually one of the most important question is what are the pain points? So I would encourage all students to think about that before jumping into any good idea, because a lot of times we have good idea, but a good idea usually doesn't turn out to be very useful because often it doesn't solve a specific problem or we don't have enough insight about what the problem is.
So, and we are going to the second question, which is like naturally followed first one. So you said it's not about chasing technology, it's about aligning tools with what people actually need. The main point for all startups, this is like the puzzle product fit, like what investors are looking for, what founders really miss, like very often. So, but what helped you move from cool ideas, AI ideas, to solving real problems? So share your experience, please.
Right. Yeah. So as I mentioned, when you have a good understanding of problem, now AI allows you to go really fast to build a prototype. And that will allow you to test that solution to see whether it solved the problem. So in old days, when we have identified a problem, we used to need to raise millions of dollars because we need to find a big team of developer. And then it takes forever because it's really very challenging to code. And then it takes forever to have an okay product. And then you launch it. And then most time it don't work. Now with AI tools, you have a good understanding what the problem is. Now you can just do a very quick sprint. You can build something really strong in a very short amount of time, usually 2 weeks. If you have a team work really hard, 3 people, and then you can launch that product. You can immediately show the prototype to the people who have the problems and say, look, I've done something using AI. What do you think? And usually they will be very impressed. Now the question is, does that solve their problem, right? So I would say the answer is work really fast. Speed is your advantage and test it.
Testing, go to customers. It's like what you have to do. You must do that. And many founders across the world avoiding that. I think that, okay, I have a cool idea. After that, people will come and get into the line, but it's not true. You have
Yeah,
to go to customers, go, sell and sell until you really sell it.
exactly. Yes. That's the
Next,
true proof. Yeah, I'm sorry. I totally agree. Whether you can sell it or not, that's true proof, the value of the work you did, right? Because that shows you actually solving somebody's problem and people feel your solution is good enough, they're willing to, pay you. So
yes, it's like willingness to pay is one measure if it's good or not. It's not how
right.
cool it looks. So, and let's move further. Many students start with, I want to build an AI startup. And how do you personally use AI to figure out what problems are actually worth working on? Because before you go to customer and do cast dev, asking them, showing prototype, before you should have like bunch of ideas, like what to like kind of narrow down those ideas, what really you can do. So it's like, and I know that AI is like can be very helpful in that, so share your experience how you use it to find ideas,
Yeah,
to narrow
yeah.
it
So
down.
that right. Yeah, thank you. I would say that is a very important thing to do because let's say if you have a chance to talk to a CEO of a large company, let's say, and we would be very happy to do that, right? But they have a limited amount of time. So you don't want to go there and just say, what problems do you have? Right? It's a very big question. And then you probably want to do some pre-work to show you have understanding of industry and you have the competency. So one thing I would usually do is using the AI tools and to really understand the industry to a certain extent, right? And then, I use ChatGPT, I use Perplexity. I would ask questions such as, okay, this is the industry I'm going to work in. And given your understanding, and you can have criteria in terms of where you want to go already, right? You can say, given your understanding, what's the top 5 repetitive workflow in this industry that you think AI can provide solutions, right? So you're not using this answer from the AI as the solution plan. You use that as a starting point. So now you have done all the research. You show up in the CEO's office and you listen carefully, but you also present what you have learned. And you can, use that as a starting point, such as, this research I've done. I'm a student. I don't know everything yet, but this research I've done, and this is what I think that maybe AI can help, right? And what do you think? So AI can help you prepare. AI can help you understand the overall picture, and AI even can make some recommendations. So now you need to go to talk to the subject matter expert and say, these are my assumptions. I've done my homework. What do you think? So I think that's one way AI can help.
Yeah, that's great. I'm also using that to do some research in some industries now for program and before for studying in the university, where you can actually like I discovered legal tech industry like very like deep, like and understood what's like models we can use, what models we don't use, like and why it's so like I actually found it's not just found opportunities, but also found the way how to build it faster than usual approach. And it's like faster and less costly because the legal field is very complicated and usually it takes like a few years to build something because it's big risks, like big responsibility in this field. But there are some solutions that you can build like in 2 months. You don't need to spend like 2 years and few $1 million. It was too expensive how people approached it. And it's also like can help discover idea and after that all together, like kind of give you a way what approach you can, for example, like choose. I agree with you here and thank you for your sharing your experience. And let's move on. You mentioned in presentation that you're using for different type of activities, different tools, ChatGPT, Cloud, Perplexity, and others. But can you describe one real example where AI helped you turn raw conversations or research into a clear business idea?
Yeah. Um, I would say there are many. Um, I always go back to the subject matter expert, right? And when I'm going back to use the accounting AI as an example. When we when we talk with the accounting company, and when they come and to show us what problems they have, and then we come up with a solution, and we think as a good starting point. But then we go to AI, and we go to both ChatGPT and Claude, and we ask, here's our solution, but criticize it and see how you can improve it. And then both AI come back with amazing recommendations. And then with that, we put them together. We say, this is from another team. This is from another AI team's recommendation. And I want to review it and then develop a better of the both worlds solution. So we are able to use AI more than one model and leverage their different strengths using our starting point to get even better solutions. And with that, because for accounting, actually, when you look at invoices, there are different vision AI you can use. And there are different solutions, a different workflow. So by working with the AI, actually, we're able to come up with the most efficient one. So that is possible. In the past, you're working with different research team from different universities and have many, many meetings and miscommunication and then frustration and eventually come to a conclusion. Probably takes, I think, as you mentioned, it takes a long time, 8 to 9 months, right? And we're able to do that with AI, again, with the help of subject matter expert, and to develop something, a solution, a recommendation, and something we can review and just within days.
That's great. And let's move on to next question. For students in Kazakhstan and maybe countries like Kazakhstan, how can AI help them see business opportunities in local industries like agriculture, logistics, or energy and still think globally, make startups globally relevant, not just for local market, but kind of like too much, like local needs with
Right.
global.
Right. And many, many problems, and if not most problems, are global, right? When we think about farming, when you think about energy, and these are global challenges. And so I think this is absolutely important, as you mentioned, that to think globally, right? You have the advantage to access local expertise, right? In energy, agriculture, in many areas, in digital as well. But think about global when you build solutions. And I would recommend you sometimes, like, using an example, you can go to the app stores. It can be GPT app store, or you can go to even Apple app store and just trying to get a sense what solutions people are providing right now, right? And then think about the products you make, actually you are able to launch globally as well. So I would absolutely recommend students to start their project with the mind that this will be a global solution, even though it will be developed locally and by working with local experts.
But
Yes.
what do you think about these industries? I shared with you the list of industries what we are focused on, and in our view, it's what we were doing research among startups. It's lack of competition for now because it's complicated business processes, and maybe these apps are not like in Apple Store or like Google Play. They are kind of inside the industry, and I think that maybe it's more closer to your accounting case where like it's for companies, it's not for consumer market, it's just like for companies. But this problem with invoices, whatever method of accounting you're using, it still exists in every country. You can see, like invoices in accounting department, and you can sell it like almost everywhere with AI a little bit adjusting the business process. What do you think about our focus on these industries? Is it like possible to do, for example, to find some problem here and after that go to the global market with that solution?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Working with a local expert, I don't think I should make a fool of myself by showing you the problem. But one example I can even easily think about mining and energy, right? Is there any way you can predict when the equipment will fail? That's very important because you want productivity, and it's very, very costly when the equipment fail because it really will disrupt the whole workflow and output. Is there anything AI can use AI vision to look at equipment or using statistics to predict when the equipment is become less reliable? That will have a huge impact. I mentioned there are 5 criteria in terms of think about what use AI for, and this is a costly mistake, right? And this is something that people are willing to invest heavily into it. So I think that's just one example. Mining energy, as little as I know, right? And agriculture as well. Agriculture, you can think about. I mean, again, these are global problems, right? Can you, making this up, can you have, let's say, a drone, right, look at crops versus just somebody's walk around it and identify patterns? Do you see troubles? Can you do the things usually it's very manual for people trying to figure out? They don't do well, in terms of is crop growing as expected, or how to reduce the damage of the crop. So these things are real problems, and I think the real experts will tell you. and if you spend again, a day and a half day, with somebody, or friends, parents, or and that you will start to see, oh, that's what you do, and I think this can be replaced by AI. And supply chain and education, as I said, education, wouldn't that be great if you have a personal tutor and some people learn something really well, really fast, and then can you develop something that is personalized for people's goal, right? What do they want to do? Some people want to go to, when they graduate, they want to go to the next level of education. Some people may just want to learn a specific skill and then they want to get a job. What about and I know education, again, it's global. And this is a solution also important for the students population you have, the huge number of students. And how people are getting educated will be changed forever. And I will tell you, even professors, I'm close to university professors, they have no idea. I'm giving you a secret. What's the next 4 years the education will be like? What kind of courses do they need to offer? Because it's all changing. So you have this amazing opportunity. And even though you say, hey, I'm just here, right? And I'm not in Silicon Valley, but in Kazakhstan, it's not different from in America, that you can identify problems such as in education, develop something, and quickly launch to test in different markets, and then learn and fail and learn and grow, and then come up with a solution that is good for the.
Yeah, we have this example already. Like in Kazakhstan, there is like one startup that now like doing very well in education field for people for schools, and they are developing in Emirates very successfully. Like implementing across Emirate countries.
That's wonderful. I'm sorry, I want to add one more thing. And the students, don't think you're just students, okay? You're actually the new drivers of the cars. And just because everybody is riding horses, okay, don't think you're behind. In fact, you're front, because people who have horses, they don't give up their horses right away. Usually they want to use as much as they can, right? Then they're slow to move to cars. But if you can learn to drive cars now, okay, doesn't matter where you are, or Kazakhstan or US or anywhere, if you can learn drive cars, and then you are way ahead of everybody who's riding horses.
Yeah, I agree with you. And now, like before, the evolution from horses to cars took like some years, but now it's like speed up, and we see the spread of AI like very fast across, among people across.
That's a good point. Yeah.
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 And let's move to our other actually blog and question. My next question is, in your AI factory example, AI produces analysis very fast, but what decisions should founders always make themselves, and what should AI handle?
Right. Yeah. I'll go back to my model again. It's the problem discovery is, I would say, you need more human intervention, right? Because you need a subject expert. You need people who have the pain to tell you, right? Because if we don't have the pain ourselves, it's hard to understand how much pain that is and how much they need our solution. Because in the end, again, you can build anything. In the end, it's always a question: will people buy it? I mean, the reason they buy it is because they need it. So that's why we say buy it. But it's really about whether you solve their problems. So I think that's the human are. I think if you can pick one area as human to spend as much time as you can, is the problem discovery. And then after that, you can use AI to do the market research, competitive research, and then develop an infrastructure, overall framework, and then you can evaluate that, right? Because you evaluate that and you probably bring that prototype to the people who had problems and say, so this again is a human in the loop. That's where you want a human to help you discover problem to see whether a solution solve the problem. And in between, I think AI can take care of all of it. And AI actually can do really fast these days in terms of coding. I would say at least it will help you increase, if not 20 times, at least 5 times. And to answer your question, human is more important in terms of problem discovery and then see whether solutions solve the problem. And in between, humans still need to be involved, but I would say AI can do more and more.
Yeah, but it's like very important question now. It's like everywhere, like included in conferences, human AI interaction. So
Mm-hmm.
how to divide better. So it's like very important thing
Mm-hmm.
to understand for students, for like to, like to build in the right way, like and what
Yep.
will be substituted, what's not, so where to develop own skills.
Right.
So and my next question, what's the most common mistake you see when founders rely too much on AI output at an early stage?
Yeah. Thank you. I think just to follow on what you said, you essentially have to, you cannot just develop something with AI and then forget about it, right? You cannot just say, this is it. This is the output from AI still need to be evaluated by human. And if founder relies on the AI output as the final stage, and that would be the biggest mistake because there is no feedback in terms of the people who needed the value of the solution. In other words, that you need to be a partner of AI. You need to guide AI because AI needs guidance, right? We call it context. We said this is in the old days how you prompt it, but now it's the context that you need to really think about AI as your collaborator. But you are, in this case, the subject matter expert, and you need to guide AI versus let AI run amok or run wild. And then if you just do that, you bring the solution that AI provided without thinking through, reviewing it, and improving upon it. And the people who look at it, they probably can tell this is from AI very quickly. And then, you're just not solving people's problems. So I think that's for the founder, if you truly want to solve a problem, is you need to partner with the subject matter expert and partner with AI, not just let AI take over. And so that you can come up with a solution that truly matters.
Yeah, this is what experts from AI industry are talking about. That it should
Mm-hmm.
be a partner. It's a good partner, and now
Mm-hmm.
the world will be changing, like and dividing into people who are like cannot use AI and people who can use AI. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not about like talking to it. It's everybody can do that. So like how it
Absolutely.
yes, very, very different understanding. I mean, I want to
Yes.
highlight that because sometimes I'm asking people, "Do you use AI?" Yes, of course. I'm just like, how? I'm just like talking with that. It's like not skill. Skill is like how to give tasks. So you just, for example, this prompt also it's like could be like 60 pages
Mm-hmm.
in this case AI can be really helpful, but how to
Mm-hmm.
like provide context, how to provide exact order, exact task what you want from it. So just in this case it will be working for you really as a tool, and
Mm-hmm.
this is what we have to learn, I think, everybody now.
Yeah. That's such a good point. I want to add one more thing. Sorry, I often disrupt you. I'm just so excited about this sharing with the students. And you are absolutely right in terms of working with AI is not just chatting with ChatGPT anymore. Let's remember that. If that's all you do as a student, let's say that's not working with AI. At this stage, you really need to think about not just chat, right? And one example I'll give to you that you can actually use Perplexity and Claude and put on your terminal, on your computer, and then pull that AI in. We call large language model, right? So we pull that in and then actually truly collaborate and work with it. It will code for you. It will discuss problems with you and truly becomes a partner. Don't be intimidated by, I guess I'm trying to say, don't be intimidated by coding because I think that's only really about 10 to 20 lines you need to learn. Everything else you can ask AI to help you, right? And then if you're able to pull that onto your computer and then start to use that to code, okay, that would be a game changer. And I would strongly encourage every student try it. Now, if you don't know how to do it, go to AI and say, I don't know how to do it, but I was told that I should learn how to do it. And it will take you through very quickly in terms of how to do it. And that's how I learned.
Yeah, that's true. And Paul, our director of the program, this whole, like program, he is telling,
Yeah.
like we don't need, like people who, in order to succeed at the end, who knows how to program because you will learn it. How to do that? It's like sixth grade students already can do that.
Yep.
Who just like don't stop asking the questions. So it's just like you have enough curiosity. It's just one of the main quality for now in his, like opinion. And one of the most important skill is like to keep asking questions, to be able to ask good questions. So, but I'm coming to you. I just want to ask you the same question. In your opinion, an AI first startup, what are the most important roles or skills founders should focus on? Because you told before that a small team can now do the work of the much larger one.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the most important thing, I think you just mentioned it, as Paul said, right? Be curious, ask good questions. Now, in order to ask good questions, you need to learn as well, right? Like, learn about the industry you're working on, learn about a problem, and work with AI, trying to figure out what solutions are already out there, how they do it. And again, as I said, don't be discouraged. Almost all problems have a solution already out there, but they're usually not that great. So when you do the research about what the competitors have been doing already and what solutions out there, don't be discouraged. There are solutions out there. Think about how you can leverage AI to differentiate yourself. Okay, that's the most important thing, and that will really actually help you stand on the shoulder of the giants, right? Because for all problems, there is some type of solution there. But as I mentioned, usually these solutions are focused on how to do better year over year. They're not thinking about how to use AI. And you can come in and say, I will differentiate by offer an AI solution on top of what everybody else is doing. And I think that will help you accelerate and come back to your question, I guess, is ask yourself how AI can make a difference. And then your solution will be able to be better and so much, you can really differentiate yourself and not have a chance to actually beat the top players in certain areas, certain industry, because their focus right now is still not on AI. Again, you have an opportunity.
Great. So we are, but I want now to move to more practical, ask you more practical question because you mentioned a few times that you don't need to know how to code. You can use Cursor or Cloud Code, like very simple, like first steps. Okay, I opened
Yeah.
like Cloud Code. So what
Right.
from your maybe experience, like what first, I mean, like questions you asked, how
Right.
maybe you continued with that, so like kind of like a little bit, let's help our students in more practical
Right.
steps.
Yeah. So if I were a student, and different people do things differently, but if I were a student, I would go in to cloud.ai. The first question I will ask, how can I code using Cloud Code on my computer? Take me step by step, okay? And then it will tell you, answer most, I think it will be, okay, this is what you do. You go to this link, download the Cloud Code to your computer, okay? And then go to open your terminal. Again, I know these words for non-technical students, maybe, oh, it's so, it's all, because in the beginning I was already intimidated, but just go with it, okay? And okay, so, you open a terminal and then the Cloud.ai will say, you put in these commands, okay? You will install the Cloud Code on your computer, okay? You follow it and then you install it, right? And then you said, okay, now I have installed on my computer, and you can use one question or one example to test what you want to do with the cloud. Give me a few examples. You can ask the cloud and say, I'm a student of this year, right? I have 2 years to graduate, and I'm really interested in AI, but I have never coded before, right? But I was told that you don't need to know how to code anymore. You can help me, right? And give me an example how you can help me. Okay, even if you don't know what example you want to use, or if you know an example, you will say, I was told that I can develop an app by collaborating with you and to build a course selection. And I don't even know what that means. Tell me, give me step by step. So what the cloud will tell you is, either it will ask you, what's your problem with the course selection? And you will say, I need to finish these courses before I graduation, and I need to do this and that, right? And here's my problem. And then you can say, and the cloud will say, okay, and here is the solution. And then you can say, okay, but I need it step by step. Okay. First, help me strategize it. Okay. And come up with an elegant solution using the best practice. Okay. So you direct your cloud somewhat to give you the best outcome. Okay. And, in the future, probably you don't need to say that anymore because it will give you the best solution, right? But right now, you still need to give some direction. Then we'll give you the answers. Then you will look at this. You can say, wow, this is really not I expected. I love this. And tell me more about this, right? Or you can say, wow, this is totally not I expected. I think it's in the wrong direction. And I think we should go in this direction. And the cloud will say, unlike human, a lot of times will say, hey, now you change your mind. The cloud will say, very happily, I will, think about in that direction. And then we'll give you more. So it's really a collaboration. Now, in terms of coding, when you are ready and when you have made decisions, you can start to say, okay, I want to have a web app. I want to have a website. Okay. And do this. Okay. And these are the few things I want to do. Or you can even ask, what kind of initial website I should build that is useful as a test. So again, you work with the cloud collaboratively, and then cloud will say, okay, I think I'm ready to build. Then you say, slow down. Okay. I want you to plan first. Okay. And you tell me how you think about you're going to build it and what it will look like. And then cloud will get into plan mode. Okay. It will develop a whole plan for you and say, here's my plan. What do you think? You can give input. Okay. You can say, I don't like this. I think that we can improve that. We don't need this. And then after that, you can say, okay, I agree with the plan. Now give me a phased development plan, right? How are you going to build it? Now we have agreement what it needs to be built and how you're going to do it. Right? Now, if you're technical, and I think this is time probably you need to have somebody know, in the computing science maybe. But I always say 6 to 12 months from now, you don't need it anymore. Right? But right now you will say, hey, maybe I can tell cloud, I want to use Vider as a coding tool instead of I'm using native JS. You give it some kind of framework, and then you say I want to use this database, okay, and then you say go ahead, do it, okay. Even if you don't know in the beginning, you don't have a technical partner, you can even say I want you to make sure that you use the best tool for the coding and make it easy for both web app as well as later I put into the app store. Or maybe I will work with this company, they have these restrictions, okay? And then it will give you a very, very clear development plan. And then you can say, go do it. And then we'll do it. And then it will provide you a solution. Now, in the beginning, I don't even know after the code has been written, where to put it. how to show it. What do? I ask AI, where should I put it? How do I show it? And give me two recommendations and compare them, pros and cons. So I'm giving you an example that if you can truly treat AI as your collaborator, and if you're not intimidated by doing some work for coding, you are free to make so many amazing progress.
I think it was one of the, like most useful and practical now things. I mean, because yes, it's like just to do, like first steps. Even if what you just said, it's like also prompts. If you even, like you can do everything when you're professional, all that you just said in one prompt, like and right away get something, you can do just in one. But if you don't know how to put the task, and you can just like give like step by step instructions, and if something not satisfies you, you can change it. And what you you notice, it's not why you changing it. Nobody it will not say you in a gloomy way why you like forcing me to do that. So it happily will do that, like
Mhm.
in next 1 minute or like so.
Mhm.
And just don't stop. Just don't
Mhm.
stop. You gave, I think, a lot of examples of questions how to interact with AI, how to start,
Mhm.
like to do that and not too afraid.
Mhm.
We are now on the introduction to like entrepreneurship, and this is whole program, 2 months program is like about introduction. But for
Mhm.
the most curious students who want to get in that train first, they can already start with your advices. But next,
Mhm.
so let's go next. So you already building, you can do something, but this is where we come to the usual problem with our development. But in
Mhm.
your idea to MVP in 8 weeks approach, now we don't have time, we need to move fast. But what do founders usually overbuild, and what should they intentionally keep very simple?
Again, you want something people want, and whether people want it are usually um, a good signal is whether they. I can be wrong, but I often think whether people want it is whether they are willing to pay for it. So a lot of times we build things, we spend a lot of time building things, not knowing whether people want it, right? And so you can prevent that problem by spend a lot of time in problem discovery. But you also should not overbuild, as you said, putting all the features there and then nobody want it. So it's very important to get the MVP, right? And really get MVP to people's hands and to see whether they find this a good solution and they can build upon it. In fact, if somebody wants your initial version and then you continue to build upon it, it's even better. It's goodwill that you continue to offer better and better solutions, right? Versus you offer something very complicated, very overwhelming, and they don't know that what specific problems you're solving. All they feel is they're overwhelmed by what you're doing. So we have encountered that problem in the past. Is we have a very clear problem, we have a very clear solution, but we also want to show people how amazing we are. We build a lot of other things around it. And then people only have 10 minutes to talk to you. So now instead of talking about one specific solution for one specific problem in that 10 minutes, we try to show everything we have built. And then for them, they don't even know what this is. So that's an example is when you overbuild, you cloud your message, you cloud your solution. So as a founder, you want to focus on the problem, deliver the minimum viable product, and then get initial read and then reiterate. So I would think that's the solution to not overbuild.
Yeah, it's like good advice, I think, because it's like really deep problem in
Mhm.
all world actually, like with overbuilding. And now
Mhm.
when everybody will be coders, we will have a lot of, I think, like kind of like prosperity with the like MVPs and with all, like solutions possible, even for yourself. But let's go, to the next step for a very early age startup. Which area should founders use AI for first to get the biggest impact, marketing, sales, finance, or operations, or it doesn't matter where you focus on. It's like you can choose, like, or maybe like two flips of the coin. I mean, like here, how you consider this.
Mm-hmm. I would say, and again, I think different people have different experience. I would say where it has the highest productivity improvement is the programming and coding. I I was mostly in marketing in the past. I was a chief marketing officer and vice president of marketing for large and small companies. And one biggest challenge is we have great ideas, but we don't know whether it's so great we can invest our effort into it. Usually because the technology development is very costly, takes a lot of time. And now with AI, you can build things really, really fast. And I would say productivity, we use 3 people versus 30 people, right? So that's 10 times. So that is almost given. You can build really fast. What that means is makes it really important, again, going to the problem discovery and also the go to market as well, right? Because a lot of times when we have a product, we have solutions, we kind of stopped there. And go to market is something I think AI will continue to do better and better. There are many, many AI tools out there, but I'm not too excited about just tools other people build because it can become obsolete very quickly. Now you have your own AI tool, AI, large language model coding tool, and then you can do it on your own. Yeah, so I would say I see the biggest productivity improvement is operations and coding and programming. And
Mm.
you still don't want to skip and you still want to invest much time in the problem discovery and also the feedback, right? You have a prototype, you want to launch to the market and test it and to make sure you have enough for users, you actually see how they use it. Do they like it? Which you will be surprised, something you think is not important. And that's something the only thing they need. And then how you can build upon it. So I would say those you still want to spend a lot of time and development becomes much faster.
In my view, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not, like persist on that point of view. But and what I was doing, like some research, marketing and sales, it's kind of like pain point everywhere. I mean,
Mhm.
like it's hardest thing to do, and that it's a lot of now solutions there in marketing and sales because it's pretty much also maybe like cross industry thing. You
Mhm.
should adjust that. But for example, in terms of operations inside the company, like it's not a lot of tools right now. So,
Mhm.
and it's like the question is like for example, like maybe it's risk when you go to marketing and sales. By the way, you will like do something. Other teams will maybe better funded from the USA or like somewhere else will be already on the market. It will be more competitive market. But operations are kind of like looks not so much like attractive. It's like
Yeah.
mainly companies building inside, trying to build, but because they are not startups, they are doing it's not very efficient for now, which is statistics proof. But like maybe where to focus still maybe try on marketing but like maybe like go to operations it just like kind of like too.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And now you mentioned about marketing, I think I discount it, and mainly because I was marketer myself, and some of the things I just feel like take for granted. And I think you're absolutely right. In the past that you go to your marketer, say, I need this, I need you to do this marketing. They will be like, oh man, so much work. Now I have to write a newsletter. I have to send out to the social media. So I have to write this copy. I write a copy for user. So it's a lot of work now. You can very easily. I mean, that's almost the number one usage for ChatGPT and say, here's my brand book, and this is my voice for the brand, and I want you to write this 10 pieces of marketing material for different channel. LinkedIn channel is very different from Facebook and all these things. And I want you to develop the content that fits to each different marketing channel. So you're absolutely right. I think that's probably also 10 times faster and easier. And yes, I think I missed that point. Marketing is a huge area that you can really use AI as well. In terms of operations, as you said, it is very not many tools because it's very customized, right? And I almost think that's an area students can go to companies and spend some time with them to look at their operations and then develop custom tools for them. That's actually is an area that you cannot easily go to buy something because it's not customized enough.
So, and maybe like in terms of marketing, you can, for example, from my side, if I go to marketing, I would go to some, like something narrow, like, but everybody needs, but not so obvious. So just like to be still in the train, not like join. I mean, like, so like I afraid to be, like late if I do something not specific in marketing, because like general tools, what you just said, they already exist. But it's faster to sell, actually, like faster to get first clients to marketing tools. But for operations, it's harder to get first clients. But at the end, because it's like unique, you can, like your business can last longer.
Right, exactly. Because it's hard for you, it's hard for everybody else. And that usually that's your competitive, if you have the relationship, develop that, and that give you a barrier for entry, right? So yeah, so just so many opportunities.
Yeah, you just need to understand what
Yes.
type of person you are. Like you want to build something fast. Somebody just like very fast people, and somebody want to build something fundamental that like more like based on research. So in this case, maybe better to go into deep operations. But if you want to do something fast, you can try to catch the not
Yeah,
catch, still compete with like all fast people right now who are doing marketing tools.
absolutely.
So let's move to our almost, like coming to the end of our conversation. One of the last questions. What do you think, as a mentor of many startups, what habits from the old startup world are the most dangerous for founders today in AI first environment?
Yeah, I would say just thinking about my startups, I think one thing I try to avoid is, as we talked about, overbuild, right? And also one thing for me, who is not a technical person, to avoid is to be intimidated by it, right? So, okay, to simply put, the biggest mistake nowadays founders is they forget there is a strong AI collaborator. Okay. So old founders, they have been successful. Now they are doing very likely to do things the old way, right? Because it was successful before. If there is no competition, that's fine. But now you have a new competition, which is people who are armed with AI collaborator. And so you need to think about that as well. A lot of times old founders say, oh, we can't do this. That takes too much time. Always ask yourself this question: have you AI'd? That's my answer.
Yeah, good, by the way, word. You AI, like Google it as a verb. So, and let's round up. We had a big conversation today, and I think it will be very helpful. And one last advice from you, one final message for your students. What should they stop waiting for and start doing right now?
Yeah. Um, it there are many reasons. One big reason is you're not behind. And if you take action now, today, you will be ahead of, I don't know, 95% people in the world. So I would say, and I said it before, you have time, you have curiosity, you're motivated, you have the skills. And I just think students, I'm always amazed by students in Kazakhstan and how proficient and good in a lot of subjects you have, math and technology, in learning, how motivated you are. And I think this is the time to really, get started and to be ahead and stay ahead and don't be intimidated. And it's a whole, everybody is at the starting point, everybody. So get started today, you will be ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Michael, for today's, I think, very meaningful talks and practical. And for students who will go to the next modules, I will tell that Today still was an introduction, but we still get a lot from even from introduction. But Michael will join us later with already more practical things. He will explain more, like in details, those cases, those tools, and later I hope that will help us to show how to really build that startup in 8 weeks. So,
Thank you
Michael,
so
thank
much.
you very much.
Thank you. Such an honor. I really appreciate it. Take care.
And have a good day today.
Thank you. You too. Take care. Bye bye.